Hey guys! Couldn't get to this live stream fast enough. Like, oh my god, and as I just press live, there's like a hovering eagle, or it's not an eagle, it's like a seahawk, like just literally hovering like right above. So that's pretty awesome. Kind of a sign from spirit, because, well, hawks are about, eagle is like gold. There is one for hawk, but I don't remember what that is in a second in time. Hey guys, let me know how you're feeling. I'd love to know how you're feeling. I've got an energy update and some really important things to talk about. I've always got important things to talk about, actually. They're always really important, right? Or I wouldn't be up here talking about them. Well, I think they're important. So, I was expecting it to be really busy down here, but it's kind of not. In the water it's pretty busy. But the wind has picked up, so please, I trust that if it's windy, you'll let me know. Let me know what is going on, that you can't hear me, but for now I'm going to trust that you do and can hear me. Better today. Yesterday I wanted to kill everything and everyone. Oh my goodness, thank you so much for sharing that. Let me share this. There's a big friggin' thing going on right now, and this is why I felt really cool to come on live stream and talk about this, because I can't believe you use those exact words, right? And I really want to talk about this. It's so important. That's why I couldn't get down here fast enough to talk about this. Okay, let me just share this and I shall do that. So amazing that you use those exact words. All right. Hi, Sarah. You can hear me fine. Thank you. Okay. All right, that's that one. Yay. Okay. You wanted to destroy. Okay, so yesterday, probably the past 3 days, I've been feeling like there's an entity around me, and I'm very aware of it. Now, it's not like, oh, clear it and stuff. It's kind of like it is and it isn't, yeah? Because there's something to be said about the darkness and why it shows up. Now, especially on this. So what I've called this live stream, right, is owning your light frequency. So no one has to take it from you, so you can see your own damn light. If you've been feeling a lot of darkness lately, this is why. If you feel like you've been like on an uphill battle, if it's like, oh my God, when is this gonna shift? If you've been feeling entities, dark spirits, or like there's also blowflies around you and you're like, what the hell? This is also how to not be scared of your own power and your rising energy frequency, okay? Okay, you've been crabby. Okay, awesome, thanks for sharing. Because I felt, and remember I posted last week, I think it was last week, about how I felt like someone gripping onto my wings, right? And it's been like this kind of where the throat joins the heart, right? And when we're talking about we're coming down to spirit, when the heart is being activated on a collective level, it's like this, you know, like thing, and something is shifting, and it's so interesting. I think we're in like the astrological signs, like moving through. Pretty sure Taurus is around the neck, and maybe I'm wrong. Are we in Taurus? For May, we are. And so it's like, you know, Aries is very top head, and then we're coming down as well as we go through the astrological signs. Then there's the bigger picture scales of all of that. You knew it was coming from past wounds being triggered by current events. Yeah, 100%. And I really like, I don't know, I'm receiving so much information. I'm like, well, what is these cycles that I'm being shown? Because end of February, March, it was a very similar, well, kind of beginning of February is a very similar energy, and so was end of like December. So December, beginning of December, end of November was a very similar sort of energy, right? And I feel like it's so interesting you use those exact words. What did you say you wanted to destroy? Yesterday I wanted to kill everything and everyone. So yes, the darkness is there to wake us up, and there's a reason in that sense, right? And I screenshotted this last night. So I was looking at the surf report before I went to sleep, and like, because there's lots of surfers out, it's like jam-packed out there. But anyway, the point is I was looking at it, and I never really click on like the blogs and stuff, but for some reason I did. And yesterday, their thing, like their blog on the surf app, was about the finals day in the Corona, like there's the surfing comp going over in Bali, right? And it says, while in downtown Jakarta, they've been flipping cars and torching them. So there's obviously a big riot going on, which I didn't know about. Blah, blah, blah. It says they've been running amok, a local Bahasa word meaning a psychic disturbance. This is what I fucking read like. Yeah, I was like, oh, this is all coming together. A psychic disturbance characterized by depression followed by a manic urge to murder. And I was like, holy fucking shit, like, talk about manic depressive, right? Oh my God. And it just explained so much. And I was like, well, why is this going on? Because even before I saw this, it confirmed what I was just getting. And then someone else said to me about an entity, and I'm like, yeah, I feel like that is there, and I need to like look at that. And I don't, like, I've been feeling it for the past 3 days. The past week, I've been feeling a lot of people in my house. Like, I'm like seeing them. Like, you know, when you go through periods of time and it's like you see them more, like the portals, the veils within, whatever the story is. And then like in this space, it was like with this, and it made me think. And even before this, I was like, when did we do that healing? Like, I literally looked, and it was a month ago that we did that global wide healing in Africa. And you know, it was like the top northwest part of Africa, right? It was that top northwest part. And I was like, when I was tuning into that, I was like, wow, like, and I sat into that, and then I read this, and I was like, well, any more confirmation? Like, oh my goodness. Because when I do distance healings with people, now this isn't always the case, but there's some where clearing out some really dark fucking energy. And I'm sure I've said this before, like, so when I'm doing a distance healing on somebody, it's like, and it's not necessarily coming out of their mouth, but this is what it looks like out of whatever part of their body, from whatever aspect of their timeline, in whatever dimension, right? And you know, like, and the vision I see is almost like, you know, in the movies, and like they kill a witch on the movies, right? And the witch is kind of melting or dying or whatever, but there's all that like black steam coming off her or coming out of her mouth, or it's like black steam, but it's not smoke, it's like a steam black like, do you know what I mean? And last night when I was tuning into that, it feels like Mother Earth is doing that. Like, it literally feels like and then I read that, and I was like, wow. And I tuned into that, and I was like I know Bali in that area has a very heavy dark mother energy itself, like really fucking strong actually. And it's just so interesting, like when I tuned into all the rites and stuff, and I was just like, wow, like this, like it feels like she's got this steam coming out of her. And it's so interesting because I've been watching this TV series, and they're talking about the Dark Mother, and then it's like, you know, in the Druids and like all the other, like, and then these other people around are like calling on the Dark Mother and like literally like summoning demons and like all this shit. And I'm like, and I always say to my tribe, I'm like, be mindful of what Spirit's showing you through different movies and stuff. And I've been watching this series, and I had the urge to finish it on Thursday night, I think it was. And then all this has come to light, and I'm like, oh, that's why I was fucking watching all that stuff, right? And sometimes feel like when I'm in the middle of a TV series, I just have to finish it to finish that chapter or something. I don't know, it's weird, right? And so like in knowing all that, I was like, oh, okay, this makes total sense. So, and then this morning, get this morning on my work phone, I had a missed call, yeah, and I was like, check the number, and I'm like, what country code is that? And I looked it up, and it was like, I don't know how to pronounce it. Is it Senegal? It's in fucking like Northwest Africa. I'm like, oh, like what are the chances, right? It was, I'm sure it was some scammer call thing, but like it was just another sign that yes, like, you know, whatever we shifted out, and whoever's on that global life healing, remember, we did, it felt very sacral chakra. It felt like that African soil, like that top soil, like the layers of the earth, and it's like the, you know, it's like we cleared all that. It was like black water, and then we cleared it, and it was almost like diamond blue water there now. So it's like, remember, and we did that, and it was like, okay, all the death and destruction is out now, and it's almost like whatever, it feels like we cleared a block in the earth. I don't know how to describe that. And so, and I was like, well, what about South Australia? Like, what did, because honestly it felt like it was in Northwest Africa, and then it jumped to the South Australia, and it went down into the earth, into the, you know, the north-south pole, like that the earth axis, like, you know, in the center of the earth, and it was like it connected to that. It was like we unblocked something when I look at it with everything that's going on now. And so if you can imagine that being blocked for so long, and now we've like cleared that blockage, and like for whatever reason it feels very sacral chakra, the birthing of the earth, like all of that sort of thing. And now like it's like, because that energy is flowing there again, it's like, it's literally like when I do a distance healing on somebody, I'm getting covered in goosebumps as I say this, you know, like clearing out all the energetic blockages, and then like the black stuff comes out because the, and it feels very cursy, like it does feel very cursed energy, to be honest, like, you know, like that black steam when a witch dies on the movies, it's very like, you know, it's a, like you just want to like get it out sort of thing. It feels like that's what Mother Earth is doing. And it's just so interesting that I've been called to do like the reconfiguring energetic codes, and like literally, like if you guys, those of you who were in that full moon ceremony, like it was on the earth, like it wasn't on the earth, it was beyond the earth, but it was on the earth, and it was different. Like we reconfigured the energetic codes for this, and that was a week ago. I was in the shower and I was like, when the fuck was the full moon? I've been feeling so out of time lately, like not lost for time, like out of time, like just really having to reconfigure days or something. It's so interesting. I've been feeling so out of time. Yes, awesome. So let me just check these comments here. Yeah, rage. I got to feel a lot of rage from nowhere last night. Yeah, like it was just so interesting that I saw that, and this is what I always say, you're always showing, the truth always surfaces, right? I wrote about this just the other day. I'm like, the truth always surfaces. You are always showing what you need to know if you are paying attention, yeah? And if you know how to put the pieces of the puzzle together, which is what Trust and Intuition does. Had one of them too, yeah. So Laurie says, it feels like maybe I'm being shown more of my darkness, what I need to work on, yes, let go of, and step out and really walk my talk. And maybe really see if the people in my life are meant to be, maybe entities. Yeah, okay, let me talk on that for a moment. Lots of houseflies yesterday, yes, same. I was like, I haven't even had friggin' windows open today, like what the hell? And yes, for energies around, wasn't sure of. Yeah, there's a lot, and I'm really wanting to like, I don't know, I know I'm being shown something about all these cycles, and it started from that live stream of the Notre Dame stuff, and when we tapped into that cycle, and I'm just getting so much information about the depths of that 18-month cycle, the 9 and the 18th-month cycle. Yes, thanks Garrett. Yes, share away people, share. I feel like people need to see this, share. Okay, so let me talk about this owning your light so that nobody has to take it from you. Now, I was sharing this with a couple of clients today, and I'm like, I need to live stream about all of this stuff, because I was just like saying it over and over again, and it feels like, okay, so let me talk about owning your light so nobody has to take it away from you. Now, I said it in those sorts of words. Of course, nobody can take it away from us. Nobody can take anything away from us. Nobody can harm us, right? The only way they can harm us is when we're not listening to our intuition about walking into a situation where we know we're not supposed to go. We know it's not the path for us, but we do it anyway. That's when we lose our light. That's when we lose our power, okay? When we walk down a path where we know we're not supposed to go, okay? Thank you. Hi, Kelly. So in this whole thing around owning your light so that nobody has to take it away from you, it's like in this space of like coming into that sense. So I'm nervous to share because I'm like, because what I noticed is that when I went into relationships where I knew they weren't right, but I just wanted them to be right, I really wanted them to work, I really wanted them to be right, that's when I lost my power. That's when I lost my light. That's when my light was taken away from me. That is when, you know, you give your power away, that sort of thing, because you know it's not right, but you try and make it right. You want it to be right. You want love, whatever that is. Okay. Now, when it all falls apart, or you know, kind of it floors you. It really floors you. Like as an empath, as a psychic, as a healer, when you're going down a path and you really want it to work, you want it to work, but you know that it's not going to. That's when you fall. Speaking from experience and seeing people around me do this, and I'm like, right? Now, it's not that you're bad and you're wrong and you're stupid because you did that. No. Because when we walk into that space, every time it comes around again, we have a choice and we get stronger about going this far into it, or we just keep going where we know we're meant to go, not being pulled off and distracted. Now, entities, darkness, all that shit is a distraction from your purpose. Now, I notice personally, and I teach this in my training, that when you're about to step up a next level, you will find that there will be a swarm of darkness around you. It is almost like, are you sure you want to do this? Are you sure you want to step up? Are you sure you're going to go in that direction? Are you sure? I don't know, what about this tempting little thing over here? Oh, let me just put this in your space for a minute and let's just see if you really want to step up. That's what entities do. That's what the darkness does. It turns up to see if you're really going to own your light, or whether they're going to throw these kind of hooks if you want to. Let's go fishing. Let's chuck this one in and see if she's going to bite that one. Or whether you're going to stay deeply connected to your light and know that you can manifest whatever you want. It's just like, and this is the thing, people are like, oh, but these things are turning up in my field and I should jump on them. It's kind of like, yeah, to what extent? To what extent? Is that where your intuition is calling you, or do you just want that thing to be the thing? So confusing, right? Because do you know what? Entities thing, I don't know, I was going to say gift. Entity's gift is confusion. If you are confused, you're usually fused. If you are confused, you are usually fused to some other person, to an attachment to something. Attachments are trying to source light through something that cannot be sourced through. You can only source light through your own space. Yeah? And as I say that, here comes out the sun. Here comes out. Here out. Here comes, oh my God, the sun's come out. Right? So the whole thing about like owning your light, and I know, and this is what's happened to me in the past 6 months this year, so back into last year, is that there's been things come along and they've quote unquote destroyed me. And I've realized after the second time, I was like, wow, that is such a distraction. Because for me, I wanted that relationship. I wanted that person. But I also know from past experience, we're not congruent, we're not in alignment. I want it to be. And I see other people doing it and I'm like, well, we can. But then the same things happen again and I'm like, you know what, I can't, it's not gonna work. And it destroys me. And it floors me. And it distracts me from my current goal. I know there's a certain space that I want to get to in my life before I'm ready to date again. So these things coming in, it's almost like, oh, well, maybe I can just do it now as well. And it's like, and then I just like, because it's gone off the path here. It's not here, right? I know that I'm going to be in a loving relationship soon. I know that deep in my heart. There is not an ounce of doubt about that. So anything that comes along before that is a total distraction because I want it to work. When I stay clear on this path, oh, look at this light coming out now. When I stay clear on this path, this is where it all is. And it's almost like the other part of that I'm getting the message about is like, you know, when you know and you've got a solid plan and you know what you're doing, and then other people come in and say, oh no, but you can do this and you can do this, and then you're kind of like, oh, okay, maybe I do it this way, and again, you're going off your path. Because again, it's like, it's almost like valuing your light, valuing your intuition, staying connected to yourself, especially when you make a plan and you're doing something and you're getting to a certain point in your life, right? Now, it doesn't mean that we can't work as a team with other people, but it comes into really like discernment of protecting your light, so valuable, like so valuably, right? Honoring it, owning it so much that you'll find that you won't even need anyone else to come in because you have everything. Like it's a whole shift in energy frequency. You're full of light now rather than trying to get light from something else, right? Okay, so Deborah says, past life meditation I did day before yesterday. I released so much from the past life with my ex, and late last night I felt enraged. Yes, yeah, and big releasing. So, and okay, so the other part of this whole clearing of Mother Earth, so if we think about it, if we think about what I said around Africa and the sacral chakra, and now we've cleared that blockage. That was a month ago. Now I need to rewatch that live stream. I said in that live stream about that healing that we were doing, I was getting the message, I think I said about 6 weeks time. I need to go back and rewatch it, because I did remember doing a prediction thing, and I don't like doing those things, but I do remember that something like that coming through. So we are 2 weeks away from that. Now, by the way, like I said, like it felt very sacral chakra. It's like we cleared the blockage in the sacral chakra of the earth. I don't know if that's the technical sacral chakra. I know there's, you know, there's maps of the chakras around the world. I don't think that is, but I feel like whatever we did was related to sacral chakra, the Northwest Africa in particular, and then South Australia for some reason. There's some connection there. And if we really think about it, and we did energetically clear the sacral chakra, what is the sacral chakra? What is next when we come down? What comes out of sacral chakras? Babies come out of sacral chakras, right? They're usually supposed to come out through the base chakras. A lot of babies are actually coming out through the sacral chakras these days, through cesarean. How freaking interesting, right? How interesting. Wow, I just had a whole pile of stuff flow through then. The medical, oh my goodness, it's like the medical, you know how there's an increasing number of cesareans for all different reasons, and I'm sure they're all valid, okay? However, they're taking our power away by more and more cesareans because the base chakra is blocked. Now, I remember when I fell pregnant, I was so scared of having a cesarean. I did so much fucking work on all my sexual abuse stuff so that I didn't have a cesarean. Now, I'm not saying that every person that has a cesarean has had sexual abuse, but when we look at the number of sexual abuse cases over the entire world, yeah, the generations that are having babies out now, yeah, right? Anyway, that's a whole nother subject, but that just dropped in when I said that, because if you think about, like, okay, getting back to Africa, clearing the sacral chakra, and, you know, babies are coming out, we're birthing a whole new reality here. So we like unblocked the sacral chakra 6 weeks later, so another 2 weeks. Yeah, it'll be another 2 weeks since we did that healing, the global life healing. It'll be another 2 weeks, it'll be 6 weeks, right? So that'll take us up to just after the new moon, right? I'm pretty sure, from memory. So let's see what goes on, but I feel like there's so many people that are breaking through things right now. It's like, you know, like if you're a spider web, if consciousness is layers of spider webs, webs of consciousness, and every time we have a shift, we're breaking through something. Wasn't I just talking about this on a live stream the other day? Same energy, same message. We're breaking through something. We're both, oh my God, it was yesterday, wasn't it? Oh my God, when did I do the live stream? Wow, and talking about the same thing is obviously really important. So when we're birthing a whole new reality, like that sacral chakra, I'm so curious where the base chakra is on the earth then. Like if we really tune into if that was the sacral chakra that we cleared through Africa, and then through the, you know, like Africa, and then through South Australia, then where's the base chakra? Like what's gonna birth out? Do you know what I mean? And if we think about, like I said, like all that like stuff coming out of, like what are the chances, right? Like really, of the surf app in Australia writing a blog about that? Like they literally quoted a local Bahasa word meaning psychic disturbance characterized by depression followed by a manic urge to murder. Like really? Like, and you want to talk about dark entities and stuff? And funnily enough, the show that I was watching, Britannia, by the way, on Foxtel, it was like, it was literally like all of that. Like he would be overtaken by this entity and he would just go manic and like just kill things, and like it was like literally like that, like, and summoning the dark entities. Oh, because that's the other message, because I almost made this live stream, is Loki real? like, have you guys seen Vikings? I think Loki is like the dark earth demon, and I feel like, and the message I feel like is that the demons are being summoned from the earth. Like, they're not enabled to stay in the earth anymore in the light frequency. Like, they can't, right? It's the same energy that I'm sensing from December and January when Grim Reaper and Witch came, yeah? And it was like, because our frequency and vibration on the earth itself, plus us, blah, 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 we're all connected, right, is rising so much that those frequencies cannot stay here anymore. I don't know where they're going. I don't know where they're being transformed. I don't know that sort of thing. I don't get those messages, but I feel like because our frequency is rising so much, that the darkness can't be, and I wonder what frequency then, if we talk about Grim Reaper and then Witch and then the demons and entities, like what frequency of darkness are they? And it's almost like, you know, as we're, you know, I keep seeing that cone shape that gets bigger, right? So we're like here and it just goes bigger into the light and we're moving along this state. So the frequency of light is getting larger, right? And higher or whatever. And it's like, as that happens, and it's like the different scales of darkness can't, like there's darkness in the light, right? But as we are moving through Earth in this big cone shape, it is like, as we hit these different peaks along the line in a way, these are being released, like, do you know what I mean? Like, this is Grim Reaper, this is Witch, this is the demons and entities, the dark demons of the earth that are buried in the earth. They're coming out, like they're literally being removed from the earth, just by our presence, just by our light frequency, just by us doing our thing and raising our light frequency. They cannot stay here anymore. This is why some people are like, ah, and like even myself, I'm like, ah, they're like gripping my wings, and I'm like, yeah, just gonna keep doing my work, you're not gonna stop me. Like, it's like, whatever's, like, you know, yes, I could do entity releasing meditations, yes, and I will do, and all that sort of stuff, but at the same time, our fucking vibration and frequency, they can't do anything, they can't harm us. When you think they can, they can. That's when we get taken over and go manic and want to fucking kill people, right? It's like, that's the energy of it. It's like, but when we bring our presence, which is our soul light vibrational frequency, when we bring our deep awareness to those feelings, those emotions, those energies, because it's all just different frequencies of energies, when we bring our conscious awareness to those energies, that's when they disappear, which is exactly what is happening as Earth is moving along. It is like the vibration is rising. It's the same as us. When we raise our vibrational frequency, all this shit rises out of our subconscious because it's out of alignment. It has to come up and out, right? That, I feel like that's what's going on right now. Yes, we can do meditations and clear entities and do all these things, and that's really important. It's really important at times. Then we come into our real power and knowing that just our presence shifts us alone. Just our awareness, our vibrational frequency shifts us alone. And this is where I'm like, light workers, it's time to ground. Now here's another really important point, and I'll check comments in a moment, that as our vibrational frequency rises, it feels like there is a lot of light workers, there's a lot of women, men, healers, general people that are having more and more physical issues. They're extremely fucking tired. They're wiped with tiredness. Whereas like 6 months ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, they had so much energy and they could do anything in the world. And now they're fucking exhausted. Now, I have a really important point to say here, and it's because I have really noticed this within myself. You guys might have heard me talk about this already, but I need to talk about it again because it's all connected to what's happening with the earth as we're moving through this cone shape of light that is extending into this light frequency, yeah? Now, our blood, right? If you're feeling exhausted, you can't, you know, take a deeper enough breath, you're getting exhausted by going upstairs, you can't even get through the day anymore, and you're like, what the fuck? Yes, there's energy things and everything that I've just spoken about on an energetic, spiritual level. We are both physical and we're spiritual, okay? We need to tend to both. Now, from my own personal experience, I was getting tighter and tighter and weaker, and I was like, what is going on? I'm doing all these cleanses, I'm doing all these health things, I'm taking these supplements, and nothing's fucking working, right? Now, there's our iron in our blood, and then there's the ferritin, it's called ferritin, that stores the iron. Now, this might not be what's going on for you, but for me it was a really big deal, and I'm finding it's very significant because the iron levels in our blood, and there's a difference between the iron in meat to the iron in green plants and stuff, right? There's a different sort of iron. Now, our earth, the center, the core of our earth, I googled this a while ago because I'm like, what is, because I was getting all this spiritual stuff, like all this information in one of my group live streams, Trust Intuition, like about a year ago, and we were talking about all this stuff, and it was like flowing, it was like streaming back into the core of our earth, and I'm like, what is the earth made of? Like, you know, I should know this from science, right? No, did I pay attention to school? No. Anyway, so back in the core of our earth, the very core is iron. That core big hole, or whatever that ball is in the center of our earth, is iron. It is made up of iron. Now, when we really grasp that concept, that if we are made of the earth and we are a reflection and blah 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 blah, right? Iron is like what holds us to earth. Now, I found my ferritin levels were really low. They were like at 7. I just got the results back. I went back and got another blood test. So this is back in February, and then I got another blood test. I got the results last week. In February, my ferritin, which is the one that stores iron, so there's an iron that you absorb and you use, and then in your blood cells, it stores, like there's like a battery pack basically that you can you draw reserves on. When you're low, your body can take it from the battery pack basically. Now the ferritin, it was never like gaining back, and I'm like, why isn't my body like storing iron? Like, what is going on? And there's, of course, there's all these metaphysical reasons, but I want to stick with the physical for a moment. Now, 7, they were 7, the stores were 7. In February, they're supposed to be at 50. No wonder I was fucking exhausted, right? And because even the little bit of iron that I would eat would just get absorbed straight away, like used straight away, because I was that low, right? So it wasn't able to replenish because I was only eating a tiny little bit. Now, 2 weeks ago, no, sorry, last week on Wednesday when I got my results back, it's at 25. So it's halfway there, and I'm like, oh, thank fuck for that. Now, I've been eating like, you know, lots of meat, which as an AB negative blood type, I had to really work with my mind around that because I'm not supposed to eat much meat. Like my body, my blood type is not designed for that, you know, with the blood type diet and stuff. Like AB negative is like, So I was like, but I also knew that I had to do this to replenish my stores, yeah? So that really helped me. I can see I don't get wiped with tiredness anymore. Like, and the biggest thing that came to me was when I was, you know, really strict on this, like 2 or 3 months, and I was, you know, I was in fucking super flow. Like I was productive, I was getting all this work done, I had no drops in energy, like all through the day. Like that 3 o'clock thing doesn't even fucking happen anymore. And I was like, whew, and I'm like, I was so productive, just like the most productive I've ever fucking been, right? Getting all this stuff done. And then I would jump on Facebook and everyone's like exhausted and wiped with tiredness and the solar flares and shit, and I'm like, oh, I was like, and it was a real dawning moment for me. I'm like, yeah, I used to be flawed like that. But since I've been working on getting my iron stores back up and working on changing my diet to support the physical iron, the physical, like if you really think about it, it's our physical earth. The iron's in the earth, and if we don't have the iron, we're also not grounded on the earth. Because, do you know what I'm trying to say? It's so hard for me to explain this, right? Because we are the iron of the earth as well. Like, you know, like I'm so curious about the layers of the earth now and our body types and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, that was a real dawning moment for me. And I really want to say this to you, that if you have been flawed and exhausted, please go and see what your iron levels are doing. Or, you know, like, you know, it's all medical stuff. I can't tell you what to do. But that was my experience, and I feel so much stronger now because of the iron. Like, it's a massive damn thing. Now, as vegetarians, vegans, there's like all that stuff, it's almost like a brainwashing thing. And if you think about it, like the Christianity, and like when the Druids and when like the goddess was taken out of humanity, when the goddess was taken out of humanity eons ago, and Christianity and all the religions came in, they were like, you need to be vegetarian. It's almost like they're taking your power away, right? And this is about us regaining our power, regaining our light. So if the earth is full of light frequency of whatever, and we're moving more into the light, and we need that grounding to embody that depth of light frequency. If you're feeling exhausted and nothing you will do, you will shift it. And it made sense to me, because even with the thing, like the, you know, like I've been vegetarian, vegan, raw vegan, like for like 15 years. And the woman that was guiding me, if you want contact details, I'm more than happy to share. She, you know, I'd said that to her, but she said something so important. She said the plants and plant medicine, it's a, what did she say? I can't remember. It's like a detoxifier. It's a purifier. Whereas the animal fats and the animal meats and the, you know, animal products and stuff, and I'm not talking about commercialized dairy. I'm talking about tribal, put a pig on the fire and eat the whole damn animal, like style. Like this is going back to our ancestral roots. Do you know what I mean? Like this is back to the earth core of how we were before it all came in and we took us down this darkwood spiral because we took our power away, or whatever the story is, right? And it's like there's a difference between the different ions and the animal products. You know, the whole animal is build and repair, and this is detoxify and purify. So it's not that plants are bad, we need both, right? And if you're feeling off and you can't get your energy back, I encourage you to explore that. Yeah, I remember you saying you were being really sick. Yeah, your cat got a tat. Yeah, drama, crazy, negative. All right, so when we've got this awareness that this sort of energy is filtrating the planet, this is where this comes into us going, that's what's going on. So it helps us take the judgment out of how other people are reacting, because they're probably feeling it too. They're just not conscious of it. Doesn't mean that behavior is acceptable, but it allows us to have a deeper understanding and be able to work with the energies. Remember, it's the energies that we're working with, it's not them, in a way. Yeah? All right, I'm just checking the comments now. Yeah, lots of sacral. Yes. Yes, they guided you to stay in your power. Exactly. Mount Shasta is based. What country is that in? Can you let me know what country that is? Been questioning everything. Yes. So the other part of what's been going on is it's like feeling the loss, right? And this is where the reconfiguring energetic codes comes in. It's like that from that full moon ceremony, like it's kind of like nothing was working. Everything you're doing doesn't have the same drive. Everything is just like, what is going on? It's like this whole recalibration. If we think about it, with that sacral chakra clearing, it's like, you know, if we really unblocked through the sacral chakra, and when we think about what sacral chakra is where we are nourished at our core. Sacral chakra is where we eat food. It's our belly button. It's where we gestate things. It's a big driver of like things, because it's like where we feel nourished. It's where our attachments come in, relationships, addictions, anything unhealthy attachments. It all stems in the sacral chakra, because it's our first port of call where we are nourished when we come in as a newborn baby. Our first port of call was our placenta into our belly button. Yeah, and that is like the spiral of life. That is where we come in. So when that gets cut and taken away, we're constantly trying to find something to fill us up, and we go through life trying to remember who we are, and we're filling ourselves with all this crap and all these things that just don't cut it, because the only thing that can truly nourish you is your soul being housed, because that's that deep connection back to the original connection of where you spiraled in and came through in the belly button and center and blah, 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 right? So when we are like going around trying to fill ourselves up and like need this and need this and need this, and all of a sudden bang, you wake up and go, fuck, I feel sick, and we're purging and all this stuff's coming out, like when you vomit because you've got too much stuff in your stomach, right? It's like this big like detox purging is coming out right now on a collective level, getting covered in goosebumps. This makes total sense now with the sacral chakra clearing that we just did, right, in Africa. So like there's this big kind of collective purging going on, because it's kind of like that doesn't nourish us anymore, that doesn't align anymore. Like I was stomaching that for so long, and now I'm like it makes me feel sick. I need to get this out. Like that's what's going on the collective level. Interesting though. So when we talk about the earth and clearing the sacral chakra of the earth, and now all this like black steam is coming up, and Loki, I don't know if that's who it was, is like the dark spirit in the Viking pagan story stuff, you know, any religion, any spiritual teaching, any story has a dark aspect, right? That is being purged up. Like from whatever's in the earth though, I really feel like it's stemming from like on a vibrational frequency. Whatever dark stuff was placed on the planet, it cannot live there anymore, and it's literally coming up and out, it's purging, yeah? So in saying that, because we are purging all this stuff out of our sacral chakra, and it's like a lot of us are purging, and then we get to a point where it's kind of like this, it's empty, and we're like, oh, well, and all the things that were in there filling us up, do you know what I mean? It's coming from a different space now, because it's like our soul has gone and it's like, oh, this is where we connect. This is what feels good. Like we're spiritually awakening. Everyone's like awakening, going, oh, this feels really good. And we're connecting. And then all of a sudden we hit this kind of peak, and it's like, well, actually, that doesn't feel good anymore. Like, how can I still be in reality and still feel good? Like, do you know what I mean? It's like, whoa. So now it's like everything is purged up and out, and there's this kind of clean slate in a way. But then how do we be in normal reality with still all our relationships, work, husbands, families, all that sort of stuff with this new vibration? Like that we kind of, it's just like it's a different vibrational frequency, because instead of filling ourselves up with all this human stuff, man-made on the planet, blah, 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 we've all of a sudden shifted into our soul frequency. And now we're trying to be human in a whole nother way. And it's like, wow, how do we nourish ourselves? How do we fill ourselves up with that, right? And this is where the reconfiguring energetic codes come in. And I feel like we're totally like rewriting reality. You know, we've been striving for so long to reach a certain point, and we have. And did you see my post last night? The Mayans talked about the 2012 shift, right? It's the end of the world. What it was is the end of the current consciousness of the world. We are in the 9th year right now. Is that right? 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Yes, the 9th, sorry, what is that? The 7th year. Oh my goodness, did I get that wrong? So we're leading into that, the 9-month shift. You know how I spoke on that other Notre Dame, it's like the 9-month cycle and the 18-month cycle, right? If we look at that on a year scale of where we're at from that turning point that the Mayans had said about 2012, right? We're coming up to the end of a 9-year cycle. Interesting, right? And all this purging and like rapid awakening is happening because we've like shifted in consciousness, and it's only getting fast. Like there's that cone shape of light frequency that we're moving into again, right? So the doubt comes in because we're like questioning everything. It's like, how do we be in that space while still doing normal reality? Yeah, it's exactly where this is coming in. All right. Just looking at these comments here. We just read an article on Mount Shasta being the earth base of Archangel Michael. So interesting, right? Because like I love the archangels, like, oh, I love them to bits. I read somewhere a while ago that it was shown to me, as we're always showing these things, that when Christianity and all the religions came in and wiped out all the earth-based pagan stuff, they took all their gods and deities and they relabeled them with things like the archangels, Christians, saints, and do you know what I mean? That was really like, yeah, that was like, wow. So it's interesting, Mount Shasta being the earth base of Archangel Michael. And if that is true, then this is whole, like the reality shifting around that, right? I love Archangel Michael. I still love the archangels. I use them every day. I use them every day. And Archangel Jeremiel, the third eye archangel, will be used in the reconfiguring energetic codes as well, because we're rewriting reality. And he gives us our life review, like when we cross over to the other side, but we can review our life now. But it does mean changing soul contracts, and that can mean whole reality shifts. So we need to be very conscious of what we're doing when we do that. Yeah. Does the darkness want to keep us down? Do you know what? The darkness is turning us towards the light. And it's kind of contradictory, right? Because as we say, we're going along in life and everything's well, and then they're throwing these hooks in, and it's like, are you sure? Sure you want to keep going? And it's kind of like, will pull us back a little bit. And we're like, yep. Right, but if we get pulled off path, we like kind of go back. So sometimes it feels like going forward 2 steps and then back. It's kind of like, right, like what is the gift here? What am I missing? What am I needing to do? And sometimes it's just like, yeah, I'm freaking choosing this way to go, right? Yes, to wake us up. So every time I see entities around or feel them around, I notice, and this is what I say, I notice this every time I'm about to have a big shift in my life energetically, or in my business, I'm about to move to a next level. Nowadays, I see them around, I'm like, whoa, I'm about to shift to a next level. I can feel it because, hey, they're even showing up. I'm like, thanks, yes, I'm gonna keep going. And it's almost like I get excited because I'm like, oh, next level, right? Yeah. All right, let me check these comments. Yeah, so check out, yeah, lots of trouble breathing. So like when we're low in iron, we can't take that deep enough breath as well because our cells are not getting enough oxygen to them. Like, you know, like, well, I don't know, the iron doesn't carry it around, but our cells do, right? And obviously the iron holds the oxygen in some way. And remember, I shared, and I saw some other people share it too, like the trees, it was like the reflection of the trees, or the trees look out like our lungs. And I'm so curious, like I could feel like something flowing through around, like if the trees are our lungs and the iron is in our cells, and like, you know, it's like, wow, like we're kind of like understanding consciousness and why we're here and what the earth has to do with that and all that sort of thing, right? So if there's not enough oxygen getting in, I'm curious what the iron has to do in the cells, like the health of our cells, which is the blood, blood is like the life force of earth, right? If we look at blood is the life force of our being. And I just said earth because what just came to mind, I was like, I was already asking the question in my mind, what is blood on the earth? And I was like, is that the lava on the volcanoes? I'm like, oof. And that would make a lot of sense, right? If the volcanoes are the blood of the earth. Now, I know there's volcanoes all around the earth, but there is a lot of volcanoes in that Indonesia kind of space, right? And there's a lot of volcanic activity all the time, yeah? Now, just so interesting when we just think about all we've just spoken about, and if like the blood and like, it's almost like, I'd be so curious to check when I get home and have a look at what the activity of the volcanoes are, because if they are very active, that's like the blood being stirred up, or the blood cleansing in a way, right? And it's like, if that's the case, it's almost like if all this dark stuff is coming out of the earth and the blood's going like get out sort of thing, like, you know, it's almost like it's being cleansed out. And yeah, it's so interesting. Yeah, you just took double B12 earlier. Yes. Have been streaming when I yawned over. Yes. Yeah, so iron levels always spot on, but vitamin D and B12. Yeah, so awesome to keep a physical eye, like doctors, medical stuff, they're there for a reason, on what's going on, right? And I know there's other ways you can test it. Yeah, awesome. So yeah, and the thing with B vitamins, like with the thing with supplements and stuff, like on that really like repairing my body, I didn't take any supplements. Not one single supplement. And I don't usually take supplements anyway. I don't. So interesting, right? Yeah, eat right for your blood type. Yeah, and that's the thing, like, you know, like AB negative, like that's I guess why it stirred me away from meat too. But now I will always eat meat knowing my iron and keeping those stores strong, yeah? A+, yeah. Eating dairy, yeah. Nose to tail eating, as she says. Yeah, exactly, the whole animal. It's the thing in the tribes, we would eat the whole animal and then we'd use the skins for, you know, keeping us warm and stuff, right? So it's in California. Interesting. Very interesting. Thanks for finding that out. Yeah, Doreen, I'm not sure if you've come on later in the live stream or not, but probably watched the whole of this live stream, been feeling sad, and you've been purging so much too, Michelle. Some bee pollen. Yep, healthier foods, awesome. Yay, lots of resonance, sounds like Laurie. Yeah, awesome. Which chakra would be associated with the mother womb? The sacral, I reckon. Is the first thing that came to mind, just because it's our womb. But ultimately, there's a male and female of all the chakras. They've all got that. But in a, yeah, if you're going to choose one, I'd probably say sacral. Yeah. Yeah, I used to eat a lot of nutritional eats. I used to eat a lot of all that stuff, and my body was just not repairing. Like, just you know, it's like 15 years of just total decline, and I'm like, no fucking way. Like, no, not happening. Alright guys, I'm just going to double check that I've said anything. Oh, the dreams. Oh my god, the dreams have been phenomenal and so much darkness. I forgot, like the nighttime dreams. Like, oh my god, I've been dreaming of alcoholics. I've been dreaming of like just weird ass dark stuff that I'd wake up and go, what the fuck was that about? Like usually I'm pretty good with my dreams, right? And I'm like, and you know, and I'm getting a lot of clients telling me similar sort of dreams, and I'm like, you know what, I feel like this is part of the purging. You know, if the alcoholics and all the you know, like addictions and all of that stem in our sacral chakra, and I feel like there's so much dark. Like I even dreamt, it was 4 nights ago, I woke up in the morning and I'd had a dream about a massive earthquake, but it wasn't like, it was in my own sort of life sort of thing, and I was like running out of this building with all these children, and it was like we're trying to find our way out of the building, and like it was earthquake and it was like all this rubble and everything, and some of the children just fell down and I couldn't do anything about saving them, and I saved some and like found our way out eventually. And then I was just like in this like grief, like just like super weird grief, and it was like then like the parents found their children, and I had to tell some parents that I couldn't save their children, like all this stuff, and it was so interesting. And it was almost like I was just like, wow, what, like I was trying to figure that out and I couldn't, so I just let it go. And then like dream after dream, like every night it's been like a real purging. Like there was like this one, I was cleaning out this letterbox, and it was like cleaning out all this like stuff, and it was family related, and it was like just cleaning out like, and all of this stuff, and I was just like, wow. And I woke up just going, wow, like yeah, I knew that one was a clearing out of that. And then these other two has been like, you know, in bars with alcoholics, and like, you know, and that's kind of all I can remember. I just woke up going, what the fuck, like it's just weird ass shit. But if I look at it, it's like the earthquake is like cracking it open, I don't know, and now all this stuff's coming out, right? So it was 4 nights ago, that was, I think it was, oh, what are we now? So we're messages. Thursday morning I would have woke up with that dream about the earthquake, and I was like, wow. And then ever since then, so it's interesting, right? It's tapping into the collective, and it's like a big cracking open, and now we're purging all this stuff out. And on the 3rd day, like yesterday, it's like real like yeah. Who's Hara? Is that like a goddess or something? So I just checking, I wrote down all these things, that's why I forgot about the dream, right? So Africa, clearing out energetic cupboards, yeah, that was the dream. Yeah, entities, yeah, stepping up, owning your light. Yeah, and so when we are like filming all the when we're filming all this stuff, when we're raising our vibration and frequency, it's kind of like the more we rise, okay, it's the same concept, okay? If you look at darkness, if you look at entities, if you look at what's happening on the earth, if you look at vibrational frequencies, if you look at all that stuff, it's the same concept of your own healing. In a sense of what I say, right? We are 10% conscious and 90% subconscious. It's like, you know, the tip of the iceberg story thing, right? The earth iceberg is massive underneath, you don't see, you only see this, yeah? The subconscious is 90%. If you look at what's happening on the earth, right, it's the same, okay? Now, as we are growing in consciousness, we're doing all this work, we're diving into the subconscious, we're doing past life work, we're becoming more aware, so maybe that ratio is changing, I don't know. But as we do all these internal work, meditations, help make our body healthy, eat better, change our diet, get more exercise, look after ourselves, our vibration rises. And so what was once in alignment in this deep, like, you know, as I was saying, is like all that eating and like trying to fill ourselves up for all these eons of time, like of life in our belly, right? Because we lost, you know, that connection from source, so we've come in and we're trying to replace that. It's like this same thing. It's kind of like we're diving into the subconscious, clearing out all past lives, relationships, healing all these wounds, blah blah blah. So it's very representative. It's like everything's mirroring each other in a way, right? And it's like this belly, you know, like the subconscious is, it comes up because the darkness and the lights, all that stuff, when we raise our vibrational frequency, what is in the subconscious that is not in that alignment anymore has to come up and out. Like, and that's why it seems like there's darkness and entities about it, because you've just brought it to light. You know what I mean? Like, so it's that kind of sense there. So so as we continue to rise up, it's like, how do we navigate this darkness? How do we navigate this new energetic environment that we're becoming so freaking tuned in, as like we're no longer unconscious to our spiritual abilities, and it's becoming more normal to use them in day-to-day life. In our modern day world, where we're coming back, the mystics are coming out, the healers are coming out. Like it's more normal to go and see a spiritual healer than it is to see a doctor. Like, well, kind of not yet. It kind of is, right? So many people come to me like, counseling doesn't work, the doctors don't work, I can't be fixed, blah 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 blah. And I'm like, I know, I hear it all the time, right? And they shift in 3 weeks. So hey guys, I'm just about to jump off this live stream. I was just recapping everything. So it is about owning your light and trusting yourself enough to know that as the more you grow in vibrational frequency, the more you know, like embody that. The things that come in to try and hook you or pull you down, or like come and step in your field and distract you, don't have as much pull anymore. I don't know if you can see that eagle up there. Oh, I don't know, did I catch it on the live stream or not? I don't know. Anyway, there was an eagle as I was looking up, seeing him. Those things don't distract us anymore, because our light and our frequency feels more full or something, right? It's hard to describe. So I feel like that's all the messages coming through today for this live stream. I feel like, oh, I needed to say all that stuff, right? So we've only got a couple more days to before we start for the reconfiguring energetic codes, which I'm really excited about. Like I said, it's like the full moon ceremony on steroids for 2 weeks, like a 2-week immersion. And I really feel, oh my God. Wow, I just realized the timing of that. Covered in goosebumps. Okay. So, you know how I was talking on this live stream? This stuff blows my mind still, right? It's been a month since we did that global live healing. And I'm pretty sure on that global live healing in African one, I'll call it, I said something about in 6 weeks' time there'll be a shift or something. And then I've just been intuitively guided from the full moon to hold reconfiguring your energetic codes, which is a 2-week immersion, which would take us up to the 6-week mark. Because when we're doing this thing, like with everything I've just spoken about on this live stream, and now we're like purging all the things that are not in alignment, meaning they don't nourish our core anymore. They are not sustainable nourishment for our being and for moving forward, right? So the reconfiguring energetic codes comes in, I imagine it would be very sacral chakra based, because, well, I didn't think of that until now, but it all makes sense, right? Because we're birthing a new reality with this newfound awareness of what actually nourishes us, of owning our light frequency and not letting anything pull us off path. So there has to be a reconfiguring, and this is why we're birthing ourselves and we're birthing again, because since our physical birth on this life, in this current lifetime, that's not resonating anymore, because now we've woken up to this point where those things don't nourish us and our soul is come in. What is the next chakra after the sacral? Is the base chakra. What is the base chakra? It's life purpose. It's grounding your soul into physical reality. It's being physical, being a spiritual being in our physical reality. It's grounding on the earth. It's being present here to change the vibration by our presence. Very base chakra, very life purpose, very like, of course. Why did I not put those two together before? No wonder, because I've never run a training like this before. Like ever since, like, you know, like I film my courses and then I release them, right? Like that's how I've been working my business, and I've got called to do a live 2-week immersion of reconfiguring codes. Like that came intuitive. I thought I was just releasing the meditation, and the meditation alone will be released, but this is a 2-week immersion that's going to dive into specific areas of our life. And I know there's other things coming through that I'm not aware yet, but I can feel it's going to be very pinpoint on particular places and blah blah blah. And anyway, this 2-week live immersion will take us up to that 6-week mark from that global healing, and I just like kind of a bit blown away from that, because I was like, 2 weeks, why not 3 weeks? And it just like felt like heavy or something, and I'm like, oh well, it's 2-week immersion, and then the 3rd week is actually like full support. Like there'll be live stream support calls, you can ask questions, it can be like, okay, I received all this information, now what do I do, Hannah? Like so it's like the 3rd week's like a support, like an integration of that 2-week immersion. So oh my goodness, that is going to be it's going to be way more oh my goodness, I can't even speak, way more powerful now. I've just realized that, like, I don't know, that's a pretty big deal, right? After everything that we've just tapped on. Wow, I still get floored by this intuition stuff, right? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness me. Okay, let me just pop this link in the comments. This is for reconfiguring energetic codes. It's a 2-week life immersion that we start on Wednesday or Tuesday, wherever you are in the world. If you join, even if you join late, the replays will still be there. So yeah, come and join us live for that. That's going to be, like I said, a kick-in feeling. It's like full moon ceremony on steroids. Like you guys saw that live stream after I came out of the full moon ceremony. Like that energy was like, this is walking with the goddess. Like talk about returning to our roots, and you know, before Christianity, before religion came and wiped out the goddess on the planet, like this is what the awakening of consciousness is to return to that goddess, you know, consciousness. Yeah, Tuesday, Alina, Tuesday it's starting. I know, so exciting. Hey guys, seeing you live. Yes, Alina on point. I know, how much has it been? How much has it been? Yeah, on alignments. It's actually starting in 2 weeks. So not in 2 weeks, it's a 2-week immersion. It starts on Wednesday, and I just felt called. That was when I was starting it, like all intuitive. So yeah, it's a separate group. Yep, so when you sign up to it, you get emailed all the details, and you'll get the link to the private group for it. Yeah, you've seen it. Oh, you saw the eagle. Oh yes, awesome. It was like, as I could see it coming, and I'm like, oh, am I going to capture this? Awesome. Love it, love it, love it. Thanks guys. All right, I'm going to love you and leave you on the eagle. Yes, awesome. Okay, mwah, mwah. Love you heaps. Have a beautiful rest of your weekend, and hopefully you guys can start feel a bit lighter now, understanding and knowing what's really been going on. If you're connected to me, to reality awareness, if you follow my work, if you're in it, right, you're going to be, you know, especially when we do the global live healings, that's what I said on that live stream. I'm like, if you're part of this, know that you're part of it, and you'll be energetically connected, and everything will shift around you. And that was part of the, like, you know, like, oh, I'm really excited to see what streams through on this 2-week immersion now, because that just, oh, wow, talk about next level. Oh my goodness. All right, love you guys heaps. Mwah.